My Roommate is a Vampire by Dennis the Menace. Read by Deathlight. Chapter 9, Secrets and Lies. It was pretty pathetic of me to even try. Lest I forget that Vinyl was a vampire gifted with super strength. She was right there to remind me, holding me away with one hoof as I attempted to whack her with no avail. I instead resorted to flailing my arms like a madmare. You done? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? I screeched, shaking Vinyl. She pushed me off and slapped me. First off, calm down, she commanded. I gawked, touching my cheek. Now just hear me out for a second. When I tried to speak, she pressed her hoof over my mouth. Listen, your mom only saw us making out. She fell silent for a second. How was that a good thing? She shoved a hoof in my mouth, hushing me, her ears twitching, craning towards the door. Do you hear that? I shook my head. No pony heard her screaming. That's good. Now listen, we've got about 3 minutes before your dad starts asking questions. I blinked. This was certainly not the Vinyl Scratch I had been talking to a few seconds earlier, vulnerable and succumbing to her bloodlust. And she certainly wasn't the loud and proud disc jockey earlier. This was another side of Vinyl Scratch, calm and collected and cool. It was unnerving to see her like this. In a way, I was frightened. She was emotionless, pragmatic, almost methodical now. She didn't see your fangs, I started, or your eyes? It was as if a huge load has been taken off my back. Vinyl shook her head, grateful as well. And for a second, I thought to myself that things were going to be alright. Then reality came crashing down upon me, like an anvil in some cartoon. Reality is a cruel mistress. But now she knows I'm a filly fooler, I gasped. I'm doomed, she's going to disown me. Vinyl grumbled, rubbing her forehead. Look, either we tell her the truth... She trailed off. Not a chance. Her expression darkened. Then we're gonna have to cover this up. Help me move her body. The more I thought about it, it dawned upon me that there was more than her that meets the eye. It was almost as if I was looking through the iridescent lenses of Vinyl's sunglasses, putting on a different pair and looking at her from a different angle each time. Hey! Vinyl's stern voice shook me out of my thoughts. I can't move your mother's fat flank by myself. Even as she said that, I could see her smiling. What are you doing? Hiding the body, of course. I gasped. Kidding. Her eyes lit with admonishment. I'm kidding, your mom will be fine. I sighed in relief. Mostly fine, I think. I glared at her as I helped position her in a way that suggested that she collapsed near the sink. I cringed as I held my mother's limp body, dragging her over. Are you alright? Me? I cracked, an unstable grin quaking. I am fine. You're shaking, she started. What are you talking about? I laughed nervously, rubbing one leg against the other. Just sit down. I refused to oblige. She forced me on my haunches. Relax, breathe. Okay. She muttered to herself. I get queasy at the sight of blood. Yeah, that'll work. Vinyl? She ignored me. Your mother came in here just to see you were helping out, and one of the employees had... Her eyes wandered and spotted a vase of flowers. Using her magic, she yanked the wilting lilies out and dumped the water all over the tiles. And mopped the floor and forgot to put out the wet floor sign. And she slipped, bumping her head against the edge of the sink. Vinyl, I don't want to get any punny fired over this. Do you want to do this or not? She asked coldly. I shook my head. Yes! Then work with me. Now how to explain what she saw. She was drunk. Something tells me this wasn't your first time doing this. I received a grunt in response. Drunk, under the influence of alcohol. I interrupted. One problem with that, Vinyl. She wasn't drinking. We're going to have to roll with it. Before I had any time to even inquire as to how she was going to convince every pony, including my mother, that she had been drinking, even to have been hallucinating, she continued. Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to come out screaming as loud as you can. In 15 seconds, ponies are going to come flooding in here asking questions. I nodded. There was no point in asking, and I wasn't going to get a straight answer if I did. So I was just wasting my breath. I realized a long time ago that Vinyl was as sly as a fox. Now keep your mouth shut, not a word. Let me do all the talking, and look scared. She counted down for me. 3, 2, 1. I let out the most terrified, blood-curdling scream as I could possibly muster, my mind flashing back to when Vinyl had lost control and attacked me. Vinyl mouthed, very nice. I was surprised to see tears running down my face, until she winked. Perhaps she should have got a cutie mark in theater arts. And lo and behold, in 15 seconds, several ponies came rushing in, including the manager and my father. I was crouched down by my mother's side. Vinyl tearfully explained to them what accidentally happened, including a dramatic recreation of how my mother slipped and bumped her head. And they ate it up, hook, line, and sinker. I would have been so impressed if I hadn't been worrying about my mother. Don't get me wrong, just because she's my mother doesn't change the fact that she was a pompous, overbearing wretch of a mare. Vinyl grabbed my hoof, jerking her head towards the exit, mouthing, "Come on." They say that blood is thicker than water. "Thank you," I said, "for everything." We moved like shadows through the night. I clung on to Vinyl as she led us back home, her sharp eyes accustomed to the darkness. Vinyl stared at me for a bit, probably wondering why I was in such a wistful mood. I smiled back at her earnestly. "No problem," she said slowly. "I don't know what I would have done," I stammered. She kissed me. "Don't mention it, really. And, sorry for decking your mother in the face." "It's quite alright. I think any sane pony would have done that a long time ago. Although I'm not sure it's such a good idea."
"But you can't always run away from your problems.
"Sorry."
It's not like you can keep a secret forever. That you're a filly fooler, I mean, your folks are gonna find out eventually. One way or another.
I studied my hoof complaintively. Do I really care if my parents knew? Would it change anything between us? Was it worth keeping all the secrets and lies just to hide something so trivial as our relationship? I shook my head. Like her or not, nearly all my employers were kinda like nobility, and it wasn't fair for the rest of our quartet for me to ruin our jobs. I huffed. "We all have secrets, I guess. I guess I'll have to learn how to keep one too." Vinyl paused.
"See, the thing is about secrets is they don't stay secrets for long. I mean, look at me."
She laughed wearily, her eyes red and her fangs extended. "Even if that is true, I can still try." We climbed up the stairs, tired, burned out from the evening's events. "Vinyl, would it be okay if I asked, how did you get this way?" She laughed bitterly.
"A vampire, huh?"
She turned to me.
"Maybe you'll get the answer someday."
I felt compelled to comfort her, hug her as tight as I could, whispering sweet nothings into her ear, promising to let everything go.
"Octi,"
she gasped.
"Could you let go?"
We both stirred in each other's arms, our coats and manes messy, unkempt, and disheveled. "You get it," I mumbled. I grumbled, pushing Vinyl with my hoof, not bothering to open my eyes. Meh. "Vinyl, get the door," I demanded.
"No, you."
Without warning, I shoved Vinyl with my hoof, watching her tumble and roll over the edge with the sheets. I'd overlooked one slight problem of my solution to our more pressing issue of who was going to get the door. I found myself being pulled along for the ride, tangled up in the bed sheets, yelping as I landed next to Vinyl on the floor. She stuck out her tongue. Owned. "Shut up!" We untangled ourselves, giggling. I squealed even louder when I felt Vinyl nip my ear, and I shoved her away. I smoothed out my mane and cleared my throat as I went down the hall, with Vinyl standing beside me as I opened the door. "Hello!" I was sent flying, bowled over by a rude guest with a bright flash. "Aye, photo finish, have arrived," cried a voice with a thick accent. I craned my head up from my vantage point, on the ground, feeling an upset of a splitting headache. "Photo finish?" I gasped. "It's a travesty. It is what it is," Hoity-toity remarked as he looked around the room. Hoity-toity? For most ponies, meeting these two fashion magnates would have been a prestigious honor, and it would have included the reactions of screaming, squealing, and jumping up and down. In a way, they were celebrities. My name had meaning, at least it used to, in music. DJ Pondry was a household name nowadays. Hoity-toity had his own line of designer suits, and Photo Finish had her own magazine. I was hardly impressed, nor was I starstruck at their appearance, merely surprised as to why would they come and make a personal visit. I'd met both of them before on numerous occasions at the many different venues I performed at. They were both eccentric and rather unconventional in how they conducted business and how they went about with their public image.
"Hey, Mom."
Vinyl laughed nervously.
"Hey, Dad."
My eyes bulged and my jaw dropped. "Mom? Dad?" As they all had their little family reunion, I couldn't help but stare. It all made sense now. I stared at all three of them, my eyes growing more and more aware. The longer I stared, I could see the uncanny resemblance. Come, sit, make yourselves at home. Vinyl, can I talk to you?" I said cheekily. Dragging her by her mane into the kitchen, I hissed at her. You never told me your parents were hoity-toity and photo finish, I said through gritted teeth. You never asked, she smirked. Never before I wanted to hurt her so badly. My eye twitched.
Weren't you paying attention last night?
Deep breath and regained my composure. Did they know? She gazed at me, her purple eyes flashing red for her briefest of moments.
Yeah, they do,
she admitted. Really?
Please try not to call us vampires. My dad thinks of it more of a condition than anything.
You mean your parents are... I gasped. She nodded. Photo Finish was a vampire. Hoity-toity too? Sweet Celestia, they were all vampires? It was like they're all one big happy blood-sucking family. So that's why Photo Finish always covered up with some gaudy dress whenever she went out. And the sunglasses. The room was spinning. I felt confused, disheveled. A week ago I could barely comprehend the existence of vampires. It seems that they had been able to affiliate with the top echelons of equestrian society. I was over my head. It was crazy. Non-stop insanity since I got myself involved with that insufferable DJ. What a fool I was for getting involved with all this madness.
You know we wouldn't hurt you, Octavia,
Vinyl said honestly. Right, of course. Where did I put the silver? The first thing that came out of the fashion photographer's mouth when she saw us together was, "Oh, you two make such a wonderful couple." I paled. I assure you that Vinyl and I are nothing of the sort.
Give it a rest, Octy. They already know.
Vinyl sighed. I blinked. It was a strange feeling. Being accepted, not being judged. Being allowed to be myself. I relaxed visibly, no longer feeling the need to put up a false pretense for the sake of appearance. So, you're the filly that stole my daughter's heart, Hoity-toity proclaimed dramatically. Very classy, quite a catch, dearie. He winked, tilting his shades. Thanks, Dad, Vinyl beamed. So very nice to meet you both. Okay, yeah, if you notice towards the end, I kind of changed my reading style a little bit. I took some advice from some people, so I'm hoping it turns out better for you guys, so yeah. It's about 11 at night, I still call it a Friday, so I'm gonna post it. Goodbye.